certain poor shepherds in fields as they lay in fields where they lay keeping their sheep was this old winter's night that was so deep. Noel, 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 Noel. Born is the King of up and saw a star shining in the east, beyond them far, and to the earth it gave great light, and so it continued both day and night. Noel, 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 Noel. Born is the King of Israel. Noel, Noel, Noel. King of Noel, 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 Noel. And born is the King of Israel. Noel, 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 Noel. Born is the King of waits for a miracle. The heart longs for a little bit of hope. Oh come, Emmanuel. A child prays for peace on earth, and she's calling out from a sea of her. Oh come, Emmanuel. And can you hear the angels face with the tears of a mother. A baby's cry is the sounds of love. Come down, Emmanuel. Ooh, oh, oh. Here's the song for the suffering. He is Messiah, the Prince of Peace has come. He has come, Emmanuel. Glory to the light of the world. Glory to the light of the world. Glory, the light of the world. Glory to the light of the world. For all who wait, for all who hunger, for all who pray, for all who wander. Behold your King, behold Messiah, Emmanuel, Emmanuel. Glory to the light of the world. Glory to the light of the world. Glory to the light of the world. Behold your King, behold Messiah, Emmanuel, Emmanuel. The world waits for a miracle. The heart longs for a little bit of hope. Oh come, Emmanuel.
After hearing the king, they went their way, and the star which they had seen in the east went on before them until it came and stood over the place where the child was. When they saw the star, they rejoiced exceedingly with great joy. After coming into the house, they saw the child with Mary, his mother, and they fell to the ground and worshipped him. Then opening their treasures, they presented him the gifts of gold, frankincense, and myrrh.
Thank you again for watching all these Advent videos with us. We hope that they've been helpful for you throughout this Christmas time. As we approach the end of this and as Christmas is right around the corner, I want to talk tonight about, well, presents. One of the best things about Christmas in a lot of, maybe your kids' eyes is about the presents. I remember back when I was a kid, the best Christmas present I ever got. I was so excited for Christmas, but I had no idea what was in store for me that year. We ran down to the tree, we opened everything up, and the very last thing it was for all of us as a family was the original Nintendo. Now, I don't know about you, but for me, this was awesome. It was so exciting. We were so happy to have this. And even better, it was very unexpected. We weren't thinking we were going to get one of those this year. In fact, this seemed like something so extravagant we would never be able to get it. And yet there it was that Christmas. And really it was something that meant a lot to me throughout my whole life. I still had it even a few years ago because really it kind of shaped and defined a lot of who I was, this whole video game technology stuff. So tonight we're going to be digging into another gift that was given so many years ago. As you heard in the verse, we're talking about the visit from the wise men. This is a pretty well-known story. I'm sure you've all heard it before, but I think there's a couple really interesting things about it that we might not have considered. So if we remember these wise men, they came to Jerusalem seeking the king. They knew that the king had been born, and they went looking for him in Jerusalem, the city where a king would be. They had probably assumed King Herod had had a son, and that they were looking to pay their respects for him. But it kind of surprised them because there was no king there. Herod didn't know what they were talking about. What an interesting thing right now. We've got these people, not Jews, not people who would know who God was, but they were still aware that something amazing was happening. Something amazing. And so they went searching for that. But what was Herod's response? Herod's response was not excitement. It was not joy. It was jealousy. And I think there's this crazy contrast happening here. These wise men who didn't know God were excited about what God was doing. Yet Herod, the Jew who should have known what God was doing, reacted with anger, hatred, and jealousy, looking to stop any threat to him. And I wonder if we do that, maybe not as seriously as we think of as King Herod, but when we look at Jesus and we look at what happened when God broke into the world through him, we say, well, that's fine, but it's kind of a threat to what I want to do. It's kind of maybe not where I want to be right now. It requires me to change. It requires me to acknowledge something bigger than myself. It requires me to understand that God has plans, and they might not be what I thought they were. And so the first thing that stands out in the story to me is our response to that. Are we going to be like the wise men? Are we going to be able to take a step back maybe from our well-known perspective of who Jesus is, look at him with fresh eyes in this Christmas season and say, this is where I want to be. This is where my gifts need to be. And that brings us to our second point, which is they brought Jesus gifts. And not just any gifts, but really important gifts. Gold, frankincense, and myrrh. Things of value, things that meant something, and things that cost something. When they came to Jesus, it wasn't with leftovers. It wasn't with a second thought. It wasn't with something that they didn't really have a need for, but they felt obligated to give a gift. But instead, it was something valuable, something that mattered. Again, I think back to how we approach God. When we look at Jesus, do we bring gifts that matter? Do we focus on the things that we can give to him that are first and foremost in our lives? And I'm not talking about the material things of gold, frankincense, and myrrh, but I'm talking about what God has given us and how we use it for him. How God takes a place in our lives. When we think about Jesus, do we think of him as first and foremost, as worthy of everything of value that we can give, our time and our talent and our energy? Or do we put him last? I know especially around Christmas, it can be so busy, it can be so crazy, and we're worrying about shopping, and we're worrying about, school finals and school programs and all these other things that are happening this time of year. That is sometimes we might think of Jesus as just another thing on that list, or the Christmas morning is really about the presents or the family or the food or all these other things that can compete with Jesus. But even beyond just Christmas, throughout the year and throughout our lives, are we giving him what's best? As Christmas approaches, I just want us to think about that and a few of these things. So I'm going to give you guys a couple of questions here in a minute. I want you to take some time, discuss it with your family. But as we wrap up this Advent series, again, I want to say thank you so much for tuning in each week. And I want you to know, if you didn't know it already, we have a Christmas Eve service coming up. It's going to be on Christmas Eve at 4:30. This is a great opportunity to come to Discovery and bring a friend. Maybe somebody who doesn't know anything about Jesus, somebody who Christmas is about everything but him. But this is a chance to take a break, to step back, and to really think about who he is. You can either attend in person or you can even watch online on our website, dfchurch.com. However you want to engage with us, we would love for you to be a part of our Christmas Eve service.
Love incarnate, love divine, star and angels gave the sign. bow to babe on bended knee, the Savior of humanity. Unto us a child is born, and he shall reign forevermore. Noel, Noel, come and see what God has done. Noel, Noel, the story of amazing love, the light of the world given for us. Noel, Son of God and Son of Man, there before the world began, born to suffer, born to save, born to raise us from the grave. Christ the everlasting Lord, and he shall reign forevermore. Noel, Noel, come and see what God has done. Noel, Noel, the story of amazing love, the light of the world given for us. Noel. Come and see what God has done. Noel, the story of amazing love, the light of the world given for us. Noel.
The first question I wanted to ask you is, take a minute with your family and think about what was the best gift you ever got at Christmas. The second question I have is this: what do you think the significance of these wise men gifts were? Of the gold, the frankincense, and myrrh? And kids, if you're watching, ask your parents, maybe look it up. Like, was there a significance to these gifts? And last, what are you giving to Jesus throughout the year? Not just at Christmas, but throughout the year, throughout your life. What way are you using your gifts for him? Thanks again.
We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas. you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry